The sun was beating down on my face. A light breeze fluttered my long, curly hair, and a hurricane was raging in my soul. It's such a beautiful day, I had thought a few minutes ago. But now my life was divided into before and after. Wanting to make sure what I was seeing wasn't an obsessive hallucination, I rubbed my eyes with my hands. Nothing had changed. My father was still standing in the arms of the strange woman, stroking her silky hair with a special affection. My last hope that I might have misunderstood collapsed when he kissed the stranger. I felt nausea rise to my throat and hurriedly turned away, not wanting to watch the scene any longer. My high school friend's hand came down on my shoulder. She looked at me with pity in her eyes, which only made me feel worse. I should have been the one to see such a picture, and not just one. "Are you okay?" I nodded and grabbed my friend's arm and rushed away, not wanting to be seen. We stopped in an alley. When I felt the weight of responsibility for what I'd seen sink into my shoulders, I collapsed to the floor and sobbed. I couldn't hold back the tears any longer. Why had he done this to my mom? Why did he do that to me? I couldn't hear what Angelina was saying to me. All I could hear in my head was my father's voice. "I have the best family. What else could I want?" So he was lying. I don't know how long I sat like that on the cold asphalt before my friend was able to bring me to my senses. "Calm down. I know you're upset, but crying won't help." "What will? How am I gonna tell my mom about this? She won't forgive him, which means I'll ruin our family." "In any case, do not say," Angelina protested. I stared at my friend in surprise. Such a reaction from her I certainly did not expect, but Angelina's eyes shone with determination. "I don't understand. How can I not say anything? That's it. You shouldn't get involved in your parents' business. They're adults, they'll figure it out for themselves. You'll only get blamed if something happens." Lying in bed, I thought about what my friend said. On the one hand, I thought it was unfair to hide it from my mom. I didn't want to be a liar in her eyes if the truth came out. Even if my mom didn't find out, I didn't want to live with such a burden on my soul. Lying has always been uncharacteristic of me, and now I'm forced to change my principles because of my dad's affair. And on the other hand, I love our family. I love the weekends we spend together, the pranks and everything else. Would I be able to destroy all of that on my own? I don't think so. That night, I couldn't sleep. The thoughts in my head wouldn't let me rest. The pillow felt too hard, as if I had put my head down on a slab of stone, or the room suddenly felt too hot. Who was she? This woman who had drawn my father away. I could not see her face. She had her back to me, but something about her seemed vaguely familiar, if such a thing were possible. I can't recognize a person just by looking at their back, and I didn't want to believe that Dad would be so shameless as to have an affair with someone Mom and I knew personally. All night I couldn't decide what to do next. My heart was scrambling. It was the first time I'd ever felt so scared and anxious, and the morning was ahead of me. We always had breakfast together. The kitchen smelled of cinnamon and vanilla, and the atmosphere was relaxed. Mom was smiling widely, turning another pancake on the griddle. Dad was talking animatedly about something, and only I was surprisingly silent, which didn't escape my parents' gaze. "You're not sick, sweetie." Mom touched my forehead with her lips. I felt tears coming to my eyes, but I clenched my fists tighter and held myself back. This wasn't the time to cry, since I'd made the decision to keep quiet. My behavior could scare or upset my mother, and I certainly didn't want that. I have to pretend that nothing happened. It was the only way I could save our family. "No, Mom, I'm fine. I just didn't sleep well. Maybe you should stay home tonight. I'll call the school and let them know you'll be gone. She has an important test today. She can't miss it." My father intervened. Mom, surprised by such knowledge of her father, stared at him. To be honest, I was surprised too. Dad had never been interested in my schoolwork before. It was enough for him that I always got A's in my diary. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I was at the last assembly at school. Jennifer, Sophia's homeroom teacher, had already warned them that they had an important test on October 3rd. The exams are at the end of the year, so they need to prepare now. I glanced furtively at my father, but turned away. My heart ached, and the picture of yesterday came back to me. I squeezed my eyes shut to get rid of the feeling that I was watching my father kiss that woman again. It didn't seem like it would be as easy to forget as I wanted it to be. And I still have a big talk with my dad. I just have to wait for the right moment. I'm going to school. Dad's right. I shouldn't miss it. I couldn't think about the test. All my thoughts were focused on the conversation I was going to have with Dad. I didn't know how to start the conversation, or how to make my conditions so that my words would be taken seriously. What if Dad wouldn't even listen to me? Jennifer walked into the classroom. said a quick hello to the students, and started writing something on the board. Guys, this is very important work. I need to know your level of knowledge so that we can fully prepare for the exams, she said in a serious voice as she continued to write on the board, but I couldn't hear her. My ears were ringing, and I watched Jennifer's long, silky hair sway from side to side as she made sudden movements. The picture from yesterday came to life again in front of my eyes. It can't be true. I must be confused. My class teacher isn't the only one who has that kind of hair. You can't just tell her you know everything. As my mom says, no catch is a thief. Angelina persuaded me at recess, and though her words seemed logical to me, I couldn't do anything about the rage that was boiling inside me. I wanted to claw at Jennifer's hair and preferably hit her over the head with something heavy. I was aware that I didn't know the truth yet, but on an intuitive level I knew I was right. We should check her out. Any ideas? I stared hopefully at my friend. Yeah, actually, there is one. A smile finally appeared on my face. I slowly approached the office where the homeroom teacher was sitting. Class had ended an hour ago, but Jennifer was still supposed to be in the classroom. Apparently, the heavens had heard my prayers. The woman was sitting at her desk, scribbling diligently in her notebook. Slowly exhaling, I decided to speak. Jennifer, hello again. The woman flinched. I'm sorry if I startled you. My mom was supposed to pick me up from school today. She was going shopping, but I think she forgot. My phone's dead. Can I use yours? Sure. Sophia. Here, she handed me the phone, and I tried to give her my sweetest smile in return. With trembling hands, I dialed my dad's number from memory. My heart shattered into little shards when I saw my dad listed in Jennifer's phone book. Beloved, if it's possible to die while staying alive. That's exactly what happened to me. My heart was pounding frantically in my chest. I was distraught. Why are you frozen? Are you okay? The class teacher asked thoughtfully. Her voice made me sick. This ostentatious concern made me so angry that I was afraid of doing something irreversible. The kissing scene was back in front of me. Tossing the phone on the desk, I ran out of the classroom, ignoring Jennifer's screams. Why did I have to be the one to witness their kiss? I couldn't keep this secret if things kept going this way. Who else would my father tangle with? Tears streamed down my cheeks, but I didn't even try to wipe them away. Running out of the school, I raced toward the park. Nature always calmed me, and hopefully this time would be no exception. But neither the blue surface of the lake nor the squirrels jumping on the branches of the trees could comfort me today. Yesterday's shock has come over me again. I was determined to talk to my father. It was time for him to stop this circus, if he didn't want to drive our family to the precipice. The phone in my pocket vibrated and I picked it up with a shaky hand. Daddy with a red heart popped up on the screen. Of course, she called him right away. Yes, I answered, trying not to give away my condition, but my voice was still shaking. Where are you? In the park. What are you doing? Do you know you broke Jennifer's cell phone? Stop making trouble for me. I'm tired of blushing for you. My dad's words made me want to laugh out loud. Is the only thing he's thinking about right now is his mistress's cell phone? It turns out I don't know my father at all. Are you coming to pick me up? I'm at work. I think you can walk home on your own. Or better yet, go back to school and apologize to your homeroom teacher. Enough already. I was yelling at you. I know all about you and your mistress. We need to talk now. Otherwise, I'll call my mom and tell her everything. For about a minute there was only silence on the other end of the line. Dad was obviously taken aback. Yes, I may have been rude, but he hadn't been fair to our family either. I'll be there soon, my father finally answered. My hands were shaking, and my heart was pounding frantically in my chest. It felt like a nightmare, a dream that had nothing to do with reality. I never thought I would talk to my father about something like this. To me, he had always been a model of a real man. Strong, kind, honest, faithful. How could it all be a lie? A man lowered himself onto the bench next to me. I turned my head and faced my father. His blue eyes now resembled the sea in a storm. It was like that whenever he got angry. How did you know? He asked through gritted teeth. I saw you yesterday. You look good, I added wryly. Don't be smart. You've got it all wrong. It was just a fling. I don't know how it happened. A fling. You're signed in her phone as lover. That doesn't really sound like an affair. I'll decide for myself what's a casual affair and what's not. Stay out of it and don't tell your mother about it. I was raging inside. Dad was talking about it with such ease, as if we were discussing my C in English, not his affairs on the side. He certainly didn't feel guilty. Wasn't going to change anything. To him, I'm just a kid who doesn't understand anything and can be pushed around. But I'm already 17 years old. I can distinguish good from bad and form my own opinion about anything. And his carelessness in this matter confuses me and makes me angry. You can't tell me what to do. I looked stubbornly into my father's eyes. Yes, I can. I'm your father. You will stay out of my mom and me, and don't you dare take it out on Jennifer. It's not her fault. Not her fault, yeah. Having an affair with a married man is a great idea. God, she makes me sick. Look, I don't want to go through all this dirty laundry. You don't want your mom to find out? Then break up with your mistress. I'm not going to let you keep messing with mom's head. A sharp blow on my cheek threw me into a stupor. With a cold hand, I touched my burning cheek, which was sure to bear the mark of my father's palm. He grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me. Drool was flying in every direction, and he wouldn't calm down. He was so angry. I was scared. Daddy had never treated me like that. He was always good to me. Don't you dare tell anyone, you little fool. I'll beat you to a pulp if mom finds out. Are you trying to destroy our family? Do you want mom to suffer? I'm fine. It's not a big deal for me to remarry. But Mom, you think anyone needs her at that age? You're condemning Mom to grow old alone. She's gonna spend the rest of her life blaming you for being alone. You hear me? It's gonna be your fault. Just you. Dad's words hit me like a hammer on the head. Anger and fear subsided, giving way to a sobering sense of guilt. It's true, Dad could easily find a new relationship with Jennifer. But Mom, she loves him so much. She's told him so many times that he's the only one she needs. Yeah, Mom's not gonna look for a new relationship. You're gonna destroy your own mom. Are you ready for that? If you are, please, you can call her right now. Hot tears are burning my face. I won't say anything. Please don't go out with Jennifer again. I'll think about it. From that moment on, my life was hell. I had to keep quiet even though sometimes I wanted to scream at the top of my voice. Mom was so happy and Dad was so good at being the good family man. There was no peace anywhere. At home, I had to smile to hide my pain. At school, Jennifer tried to suck up to me, which made me sick. Her ridiculous attempts to look like a decent person in my eyes only made me angrier. Dad wasn't going to change. Since then, I found out about 2 more of his mistresses. I don't know how he had time for all of them. But my mom didn't suspect a thing. My only dream was to go to another city to study, so I wouldn't have to see all this horror. I couldn't lie to my mom anymore, but it would be too cruel to tell the truth. That day my mom came home from work in a great mood. In her hands was a gorgeous bouquet of pink peonies, her favorite flowers. A happy smile shone on her face, and her eyes glowed with happiness. It had been a long time since I had seen her so happy. It seemed that now she was able to fly into the air. What's the occasion? Daddy got you flowers? They weren't from Daddy. You know, a former classmate of mine joined the firm. I haven't seen him in ages. He's such a lovely man. He gave me flowers to celebrate. That's nice. Won't Dad be jealous? Mom waved her hand, and her eyes stopped sparkling like diamonds in the sun. He rarely notices anything outside of his work these days. Does he? I didn't notice you were in trouble. Of course, you're our daughter. How can I show you things like that? We're adults, we'll figure it out. The important thing is that we love each other and we'll be honest. Honesty is the most important thing in any relationship. I felt my heart stabbing. I'm lying to her. How am I different from my father? I'm a liar just like him. I looked again at the bouquet my mom was holding. How could I have thought she'd be alone? After all, she will always have me, and men probably see her as a beautiful woman too. She doesn't deserve a man who doesn't prioritize her. Mom, we need to talk. Yeah, sure. Is there a problem at school? I nodded confusedly. Yeah, sort of. That night I felt 2 feelings. Responsibility for what would happen, and relief that I'd finally told the truth. That weight was no longer resting on my shoulders. It might have been wrong, but it was worth the relief I felt. I guessed, Mom answered quietly. I really did. I just didn't want to believe it. So, he dragged you into it too. I'm not ashamed. I'm sorry I told you. I couldn't lie anymore. Mom touched my cheek with her warm palm. She had such a kind smile on her face that I forgot about all the problems. You don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. I don't understand how he even dared to bring you into our relationship. You're a child. I can't imagine how hard it must have been for you, with me on one side and your father on the other. That night my mother packed my father's things into a large suitcase and took it out into the hallway. She wasn't crying at all. but she was very angry. It was a reaction I hadn't expected from her, but it was quite possible that she was just trying to protect me from guilt in that way. Dad was angry. When he realized what had happened, he tried to lash out at me, but Mom wouldn't let it happen. Then he started urging her to talk things out, but Mom was adamant. You can talk it over with Jennifer, or whoever else you've got. I don't care that much anymore. You have nothing to do with this family anymore. And if I ever hear of you laying a finger on our daughter again, I will strangle you myself. It's been about a year since that day. To be honest, I had no idea things would turn out so well. The day my parents fought, I felt like I'd ruined everything. I'd condemned my mom to loneliness. Luckily, I was very wrong. At first it was difficult, you bet. The usual way of life has changed dramatically, but my mom and I quickly got used to it. Now I'm studying at the university I've dreamed of since the 5th grade. Mom's in love, really in love. I've never seen her so light and airy. It's all because of a former classmate, with whom they got hitched a couple months after the divorce. He's a good man, just like my mom. They say everything is a comparison, and it's true. I used to think my mom was happy, but only now I realize I was wrong. Now that she's with a man who blows the dust off her, she's really happy. Maybe I shouldn't have told my mom. I should have kept quiet and let my dad keep lying to her. But I couldn't. Do I regret it? No. I did the right thing. If adults don't want children to meddle in their affairs, they shouldn't meddle in their own affairs first. My father did a bad thing, and I had to keep quiet about it. Is that fair? No. Even if I did wrong, so be it. The important thing is that now everyone knows the truth. The important thing is that now Mom knows the truth. I'm glad I got that weight off my shoulders.